The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
We're covered in poop.
Everything is just covered in poop. Everything's covered in poop. Jeremy, in the span of about 4 hours, put down 2 double cheeseburgers,
we don't need to, okay.
fries,
We don't need to do this.
soft serve ice cream,
We don't need to do this.
a large popcorn,
What's the next
a
topic?
bag of mini Kit Kats,
Okay.
2 bags of candy,
Okay.
and a large pop at the movies. I have the immediate fix to this. We get a dog.
Lauren.
We get a dog.
Yep, let's go home. Welcome back to Wild Til 9.
Welcome back.
Hi.
We had some of you who were concerned the Blab episodes were going away, and
Lauren has great news for you.
I have blabbing to do today, so don't you worry. You're not learning a thing in this episode.
Lauren was like, as I'm like getting my mic on, she goes, I've got things to blab about today. Awesome.
So the blabbing is going absolutely nowhere because I've like in my mind all morning, I've had things to blab about, and I'm so glad that I've now trapped you here for the next, 60 to 80 minutes.
Funny thing is, I've trapped you here to blab at you.
Go ahead. What, Boob, what do you want to blab about?
I would never. Ladies first, set the tone.
Okay. 1, I have a headache behind my right eyeball specifically. And I just need to know, 1, am I dying? And 2, do other people experience this? Because it's so focal. It's so odd.
Do you always have headaches in the same place?
No.
Okay.
No.
I used to be like bad headaches. Bad headaches.
I genuinely, migraines are so debilitating. I don't understand how I actually saw the craziest thing on Instagram today about how someone did a,
Wait, hold on.
I know, not on TikTok. It wasn't on TikTok.
So TikTok covered this in November?
Probably,
Okay.
likely, is that someone got some kind of transplant into their brain specifically for migraines. The first one in the world happened in the Netherlands.
I feel like we fucked up.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I think we were born 30 or 40 years a little early before we get to just do complete genetic modifications.
But like, do we want that?
No, God, no. But in a world where we thought it was a good idea, it's like, oh, like no more headaches, no more this. Like, you know how you can just like buy software and an app for anything?
Yeah.
Can you
Now
imagine?
you're like, can I get blue eyes, no headaches,
Exactly. Also, firmware update.
an extra toe?
Now I can do this with my body.
Right.
Like, who's that Brian Johnson guy?
Oh God, yeah, he's fucking. I watched the documentary and I walked away feeling uneasy. I think you know what makes me just a little uncomfortable is how
3-hour erections.
that and him and his son measuring their erections and comparing. Weird dynamic. Gonna be honest, I know
By
that
the way,
families.
hey, spoiler alert for those who haven't watched the documentary, including me.
I promise there will
So-
be other takeaways from the documentary that you'll thrive with.
I have questions. So when you say measuring their erections,
Yes,
what do you mean?
there's a tool for it, I guess.
Well, it's called a ruler, but I'm just in general.
True,
what is-
that's just for length and width.
well,
Rulers, you can't even do girth.
yeah. Well, I think the measuring tape.
Yeah, that's the measuring tape.
Yeah, I don't actually think that's a. I don't think that's a
No,
metric.
it's not about that though. I can't remember what the tool is.
Who's logging
can you
girth?
Google the erection measurement tool?
It's during sleep, right? Because I've seen on.
Yeah, I
I've
think that's
seen-
how they did it.
I haven't opened Twitter or X in like 4 months, but
Mm-hmm.
I've seen screenshots of news articles talking about Brian Johnson basically like letting
Yeah.
the world know how hard he was last night.
Yep.
It's called the atom sensor.
Yes, that's right. The atom sensor. That's right. Okay, and so how does it work?
Wear it while you sleep.
Sure. We need visual aids.
I know. I'm trying to find a picture of it. So on their website, they're like not just like upfront advertising what it looks like. I am trying to.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, is this like, does it go around?
So this is the atom sensor?
Okay, so it
Correct.
connects to an app.
Of course.
It's 149 pounds to buy.
Damn.
Oh wait, no. It looks like a little. Honestly, it looks like a mini maxi pad.
Can I
Like
get a
it's
visual?
Stuck to it.
I
think this is it.
do you
It looks like a little mini plastic maxi pad that would go on the ween. I'm unsure.
I have more questions.
Yeah.
than
No,
I
they
have.
have no like examples or like, with a
Here's a man
banana.
using a banana. Yeah.
Oh.
Here we go. Yeah, it looks like a little mini AirPod case or a little white maxi pad on top of the banana.
Oh, on top of the banana.
Where does
Or on the side of the
maxi
banana.
pad
Connect.
stick to? Go on.
The shaft.
Top, bottom, side.
Base of banana.
Oh, base of banana.
Yeah, so I'm unsure.
Okay.
Anyways, I understand that families have different versions of family bonding. I just think that this is a little far for me personally, but I'm not here to yuck Brian Johnson's yum, but it's just personally not for me. How did we get here? How did we
I
get
just
here?
want to point out, if I had the opportunity to have an opportunity to grow closer with my birth father, this wouldn't be the activity.
This wouldn't be the method of, I don't know.
Okay, but so do you think the son finds this weird?
He's gotta.
But maybe not.
But maybe not. I don't know. Again, listen, I'm not here to dissect other people's families. I just think it's fucking weird personally.
Not that we should delve into this on this episode, but the whole idea of like that being a thing you're comfortable with your father.
Yeah.
For it, like when I tell you that does not compute, like I wouldn't know how to have. Literally, I would think I would die in awkwardness.
Yeah. You know what, though? I wonder if on the other side of the coin, maybe he's like, because like I think about if I had the opportunity to make my parents live longer, like I would absolutely want to take that. Like I would give them blood transfusions, plasma transfusions, whatever that. But I just don't know if measuring the genital health is something that we need to be comparing.
Well, also, like, you know that they've measured themselves and are now aware of.
No, my dad's never done that.
No, not your father. Of course not. I'm just saying, like, they've quite literally measured themselves nightly. So it's like, there's got to be a weird dynamic there.
Yeah, I don't know. I also feel like families that are like very health and science
This is another level.
ingrained. This is another level, obviously. Okay, this brings me to my next point, though, is that I just watched the movie Poor Things with Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo, and I know that I am behind the times in this.
We watched that trailer a year ago, I think.
And I think we were like, maybe this is a little too artsy and weird for us. Yeah. Oh my God, that movie was so fucking good. I'm gonna watch it again with Jeremy because it was amazing. You will have to cover your eyes for some of the scalpeling and like cutting they do. This is what reminded me of is that there's like some medical procedures.
You know how that there's versions of films that are like adapted for different audiences?
Yeah.
I want a no-cut filter.
Yeah, I want a no-cut filter as well. That and a no throw-up filter is what I would love to apply to all movies.
Actually, this feels like a thing that is achievable.
Yeah, because Emma Stone did throw up once in this movie.
I didn't know before dating you.
Yeah.
But someone throws up in every movie ever.
It's crazy. I don't know if we've watched a season of any show ever where someone has not yacked once.
Like, I know that I will never be a director of a film because I don't think that I would have the idea of making someone throw up in my film, and that must be a prerequisite.
If I was a director, no to throw up in my movies, and all the emetophobes could come watch my movies.
But like, can someone below who went to film school and is now working in insurance, can they explain to us what the phenomenon behind this?
I wouldn't, because it's real life. Like that's what it is that you're when you're depicting something like a realistic reaction, sometimes that is a realistic reaction.
I puked like 50 times this week.
Oh my God, you guys. I just want everyone to know that Jeremy was very sick, but I also mentally am unwell right now. And again, this was really sad for Jeremy and he had an awful Sunday.
The floor is yours.
This was really hard for me.
The floor is yours. I will say there is a part of me that almost feels like I want to be healthier and better in a given day when you're being disgusted by my current state.
It wasn't disgusted. I just have a phobia.
Right. Well, like from my perspective, I'm like, I am the ultimate ick to my wife right now.
You're just the trigger. You're the anxiety trigger, unfortunately.
I couldn't have less control over when I vomit or not. But like, it's like, not only am I like, I feel bad, but I'm like, could I do this quieter so that it impacts her less?
Oh, it was tough. So Jeremy got a wild bout of food poisoning or something.
Yeah.
And so my biggest fear as someone with emetophobia is Norovirus, because Norovirus apparently is just absolutely awful.
Well, so like Lauren was on the phone with my cousin, your cousin now, a doctor.
Yes, who's an urgent care doctor who has seen it all.
And me hearing only one half of this conversation was a trip. Like,
okay, so his main concern was, did you have appendicitis?
Right, I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
I don't think so.
Didn't. So basically, trigger warning, Jeremy was sick violently for about a 5 to 6 hour period.
I've never puked that much. Ever.
I don't think I've ever seen so in people. Well, normally because I'm able to remove myself from the situation and literally, physically, and mentally not be there.
But like you walked in the door and I was yakking.
It was tough. It was tough. It was one of those situations where I had to turn away, fingers in my ears, and
I literally looked up and I'm like, oh, this is somehow even worse now.
Literally having a panic attack. Jeremy's so sick. And it's awful because like I feel so bad that I can't be there to rub your back and be like, hey, it's going to be okay. But I literally need to get on a plane and be in a different country when this happens. It's so brutal.
But to date, we've been together for 6 years and change.
Yeah.
I can't remember a time when I wasn't able to like get out of the room to like not have to have you deal with it that close.
Yeah.
And this is the first time literally that I can remember where hey, this is happening right in here, right now. And it's going to continue happening and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. No, I had the yellow gloves with the bleach and water mixture and the N95 mask on in the house. And you guys, our house has never been so clean.
She transformed into Mr. Clean.
Crazy.
When I tell you that I can still smell bleach.
Norovirus is so contagious though. And the people that have had it, obviously I was on Norovirus TikTok when it was really, really bad. I feel like in the like late fall, early winter. And it was like people were like, I've never been that sick. I thought I was going to die and it's so contagious. And what I learned about norovirus from your wonderful cousin doctor is that it's
our cousin.
So when he was describing it to me, he was like, it's fecal-oral. And so in my mind,
this is the part of the conversation that I heard half of.
In my mind, I'm like, okay, like that makes sense because when you get it, like it's common that you are pooping a lot, and oral, you're throwing up a lot, and it's fecal-oral. Like that's where things are coming out. Fecal-oral.
I got to be honest. You said people weren't going to learn something. I think I'm going to learn something.
You're so right. This is an educational science podcast.
Take it back. You're learning something.
So he was like fecal-oral, like fecal-oral, and I was like, cool, totally makes sense. Like that's totally aligned with what I know about norovirus, and it's just super, super contagious. What I came to later find out is that fecal oral actually means that it is the bacteria and viral bacteria from the poop, from the fecal. And the fecal to the hyphen oral means like poopy viral bacteria into mouth.
Yes.
Fecal transmitted to mouth.
And this is a highly contagious, impacts a lot of people to the point where we have to realize we're covered in poop.
Everything is just covered in poop. Everything's covered in poop. Everything's covered in poop.
Like it's crazy because like it's not that I think that like that's I get it. I think about the amount of times I've watched our dogs just scoot across the living room.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and giggle at them, and I go, oh my God, there's it's a trail of whatever was.
I have never seen you wipe one of our dogs' butts.
So yeah. Anyway.
Things for Jeremy to work on in 2025.
Again, why would I have to when the floor just did it?
That's true.
But I find it disgusting. And to know that we're all susceptible to a virus we can only get from digesting poop, and yet it's all over the place.
Poop in mouth.
Wait, hold on. So if I got it and I am actively...
Well, no. Okay, so but basically all of my medical friends have said, have summarized essentially...
Let's go and just carry... So 3 people have said...
2 actually.
Okay,
2.
got it.
1 pediatric nurse and an urgent care doctor have essentially...
Honestly, pretty decent staff there.
No, honestly, like being there was a moment where I was like, wow, it actually is so sick being an adult that has friends that are in incredibly useful and like need to be very intelligent workplaces and workforces.
And like the next level up, the couple times when I've had a medical question that I did not want to have to ask my own medical provider.
And
like,
we can ask your cousin.
Hey, cousin.
Yes.
Go ahead and just, close the lap. Don't put this anywhere near. So what happens if... And you'd be shocked at like how helpful the answer is.
Our roster is pretty good. Like you have a vet friend, which is incredibly helpful. Your uncle is the oral surgeon, also incredibly helpful. Jeremy's going for his tooth implant in a couple days. Can't wait. From my side, who do I? Oh, well, I guess Maggie is the pediatric nurse.
Our friend Maggie.
My friend first.
Okay, I didn't know we're claiming friends.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to make myself feel better about who I'm bringing to the table in terms of like useful rosters.
Check our prenup if we put a delineation on friends.
Friends.
Yeah, that's communal property.
I would get Maggie though. I would get Maggie in a divorce for sure.
The thing is, I don't even know if I would get my own cousin in a divorce. I think if you hang out with them a couple more times, they might pick you.
That's true. And understandable, to be honest. Okay, so between those 2 medical professionals, I think Dr. Cousin said that...
The information you've gleaned is...
Dr. Cousin said that there's a chance that we were both exposed to the same viral something.
Load.
And you got it and I just didn't.
No chance.
I wash my hands 20 times more times a day than you do. 100%. I've seen you wash your hands about 3 times total.
3 times? What was I doing before? I must have been doing something actively dirty.
Not washing your hands.
It's not that I think that I
can't wait to hear you justify this.
It's not that I think that I am great about washing my hands. However, I just know that my baseline is, I think, like using men as a reference, and they're filthy. filthy.
Okay, but I just feel as if maybe we could wipe a few more puppy butts and we could wash our hands a little more.
Well, do you want me to have clean hands or dirty hands?
Clean hands.
Well, then wiping butts is not going to help.
Yeah, wipe butt, clean hands.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So there's a chance that we were just exposed to the same viral whatever, and you got it, I didn't, because by like the 12 to 24 hour period, I obviously didn't show symptoms.
That would be the first time ever.
Truly.
Ever.
Like ever. And so that's why it kind of boiled down to food poisoning, because it was such a violent reaction and for a what would be considered a short period of time. Because it seems like norovirus is like a, totally, obviously that felt like the longest period in the entire world. But I think norovirus is between like 2 days to a week.
Yikes.
Yeah, which is tough.
Gross. Awful. When you can't control the things that are coming out of your body from both ends.
But you just had one end.
Right. But if you have norovirus for a week.
Yeah, for norovirus. Oh, that's awful. Yeah. I'd actually want to just be sedated, ideally.
But like, I think about that. Like, what if you were a single mom with like 3 kids and had norovirus and didn't want to give it to them? But
yeah.
What do you do?
Right.
Like, nightmare.
Truly, this is what fuels my anxiety every single day. What do you think I go to sleep thinking about?
Your life is not your own. Insane. Again, if we just had 30 more years, software upgrade. No more Noro.
I would like to control alt delete.
Right.
The current version.
Right.
Yeah. So that was our Sunday. And on Saturday we had seen Captain America, which
I don't know if we need to. Come on. It's come on.
A little tough.
Okay.
Here's what I will say is that if you're a Marvel fan, it's not going to be your favorite Marvel movie by any means.
Don't decide that for them.
It's not going to be your favorite Marvel movie.
They might be a big Red Hulk fan from the comics.
Red Hulk was amazing. The CGI and the action scenes, incredible.
Harrison Ford's abs as the Hulk.
Amazing. Chest hair, so clear. The craziest, clearest chest hair you'll ever see on a Red Hulk.
Yes.
So I also think there's a possibility, so this was Saturday, that Jeremy, in the span of about 4 hours, put down 2 double cheeseburgers,
we don't need to,
fries,
we don't need to do this.
Soft serve ice cream.
We don't need to do this.
A large popcorn.
What's the next topic?
A bag of mini Kit Kats.
Okay.
2 bags of candy.
Okay.
And a large pop at the movies.
Sadly, I do think you missed actually a bag of candy somehow in there, but yeah.
And a bunch of edibles.
I was saying, and like 4 edibles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little ones, little baby ones.
So that could have been, there's a lot of.
But none of that is like, besides the burgers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get food poisoning from Kit Kats.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing with the burgers is that I and our other friend also ate them and we were fine. So I don't know. So anyways, that was our Sunday and tough day for me. And we also feel bad for Jeremy as well too, but tough day for the emetophobe in the house.
If there's any left over, I'll take it. But I think you deserve the concern.
Tough day. Yeah. Tough day.
But also like, there is a piece of like, kind of, I don't know, being married to someone who deals with something that I don't deal with. Mm-hmm. It makes me cognizant of like, wow, glad I don't have to deal with that. But also I'm not kidding. It makes me want to get better faster to not have to have you deal with that.
That's very nice.
Yeah. And like, I wouldn't give that, like, that's not something that I would feel for myself. Like if I hated throwing up, which I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to get better when I get better. But for you, I'm like, okay, I need to like get better enough so that like I'm not ruining her life by me being sick.
I mean, it was coping. It was exposure therapy again, as is everything with the dogs as well too. It was just a little exposure therapy.
I just feel like I'm like larger than the dogs. So I feel like it's just more.
It was much harder to process than the dogs, because the dogs also feel like they can't help themselves.
Right.
And you also, I would say on Sunday, couldn't help yourself either. But like, you know what I mean? Like you feel a little more independent than the dogs do. The dogs are dependents.
It reminds me of when I started to feel a little bit better, but I was like, I'm so lonely. I want to hang out with my wife. And so I took my little pillow, my blankie downstairs, and I set myself up on the couch, and Lauren just goes, I'm like cleaning this area. So this is already clean. So head on back upstairs.
Okay, but Jeremy comes down with his trash can, like ready to throw up again in the living room area.
I was like, you like looked at me, this look of just like 2 gloves.
I had gloves on
cleaning,
and the mask. And I was
like,
no, I was so nice though. I was like, babe, I'm so sorry. I was like, but like, your doctor cousin said that we should try and quarantine you just in case you have noro. We should try and quarantine you to one room so that we don't spread the germs.
Absolutely. And I said, okay, and walked my happy ass back upstairs. It's fine. It's all good.
So anyways, that was our weekend.
The things we do for our partners.
That was our weekend.
I love you dearly. I'm glad we are both not throwing up.
Same. It's interesting though to like see the runoff anxiety of that day though.
Oh, when I tell you that Lauren has never been a better organizational, cleaner, like we could have murdered people the week before.
Yep.
FBI
Spotless.
can come through.
Spotless.
They're not finding anything.
Nope, not a fingerprint in sight.
Like your capacity to clean, I didn't realize.
was so high.
I didn't realize you had it in you.
Well, Norovirus isn't killed by your regular household cleaners. Again, an educational podcast. It has to be killed with bleach.
Bleach. Isn't bleach a household cleaner?
No, but like it's not going to get killed with like a Clorox wipe or Oxy spray.
Well, Clorox.
Or
Okay.
OxyClean or whatever.
OxyClean.
OxyClean? Isn't that called?
OxyClean is for your laundry.
Oh, yeah, you're so right. Oxy. We've got an Oxy something in the bathroom.
But that was right.
boy.
Norovirus probably won't get killed with OxyClean.
Probably not.
yeah, probably
Like,
not. Also, won't get clean with your toilet bowl cleaner. Not true.
True. Yeah, our house has never been so
No,
beautiful.
but I mean that like after that day, as soon as you were okay, I passed the fuck out. I think because I was in such a heightened state of anxiety the entire day.
I finally feel good. I'm like, I'm so glad I feel better.
Let's
How are
watch
you?
something.
And I'm not kidding. Lauren's just dead. Just go.
I fell asleep.
You would have thought that you had run the marathon and been puking the entire day.
I know. Well, it's because I was in a heightened state of anxiety all day, like having panic attacks. And then as soon as like you crash, nothing is more exhausting than a panic attack. I know food poisoning, again, was very hard. No, but like even like we are getting on a flight tomorrow and like I would say my anxiety over this past week has been at a higher state than normal just coming off of that day.
Well, also, we can't help but see a daily plane crash.
Literally, what the fuck is going on?
I've had conversations with some of my pilot friends that like fly for Southwest.
Yeah.
And like have fly like private and like trying to figure out what's going on. No idea.
I saw that Delta offered all of the passengers on the Toronto flight that ended up upside down $30,000 each.
That's a great start.
That's a great start. No strings
Amazing
attached,
start.
but like
Amazing start.
That's a great start.
Amazing start.
That one is just so scary because like I think about how
By the
often
way, if any corporation ever offers you $30,000 sight unseen with no other information whatsoever,
you can get more.
You appreciate them. You appreciate them. You understand the gesture. You'll get back to them because that's
We can do better than that.
honestly. And I don't know what happened, and I'm sure it probably wasn't a pilot's.
Wait,
sure
I have thoughts.
We have
My
tea?
stepdad is
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, my stepdad is a commercial airline pilot. He's retired now, but he was a pilot for Delta. He started flying when he was like 18 in the military. It's all he's ever done. And flew with Delta for, I don't know, like 30 plus years.
Okay.
Wow.
And his opinion is that this Delta crash is 100% pilot error. That there's like no
Whoa.
other explanation for it.
Wow.
And crazy thing is that like 3 years ago, my family and I had a conversation, or we were like talking, and my stepdad was like, there are going to start being more plane crashes in the next couple of years because he was noticing that companies were hiring like less. It used to be like harder to become a pilot.
Right. And now the barrier.
There was a higher barrier to entry, and my stepdad at the end of his career was a line check airman, which means they're the guys who are like approving people, like doing testing with them to like sign them off to either be, like elevate from being like a first officer to being a pilot or to become a first officer. And he was noticing like such an increased error rate towards the end of his career. So it was just like, it's been so trippy because I just like so vividly remember that conversation. And I was like, damn, you literally told us that this was going to start happening. And it does feel like it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I like am not someone who's scared. Like I never have anxiety of like, oh, we're going to die in a plane crash, but I'm not like not aware of the headlines that have become a little more common than I'm comfortable with.
I don't know.
The Toronto one was just really hard to read. Like that one was really tough because that is like I had friends who were supposed to fly out of the airport that day and like their flights all just like got canceled and moved because obviously
a plane flipped over.
So I've got 4 flights in the next 2 weeks. So if you
we're taking planes that could fly themselves there
If
and
you catch me ordering a second, third, or fourth drink, just smile and wave. I'll be there with my little smut book and my 4th champagne. Just la la la.
United, please. Don't do us wrong.
Oh man. Oh God. So that's changing gears. I just finished a movie and I literally finished it and I was like, I can't wait to talk about this in the pod. Okay. So This is a remake of an old movie, which I think is also based on a book. It's called My Fault London. It's on Amazon Prime in the States.
Okay.
And it's a romance, and there's like a ton of action with like supercars and stuff. And it was such a good movie. It was like such a
romance and supercars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which makes sense why it's a remake, because I feel like that's such like a fun concept.
It's like you and your dad wrote a love story together?
Okay. Well, no. So I hate that because the romantic leads are the daughter of a mom who has now eloped with her new husband, and the other romantic lead, I said this in the most confusing way possible, and I am so sorry for that, is the son of the new husband. So essentially, newly brought together step siblings. But again, they are over 18.
Okay.
We've talked about this in another episode.
I'm not touching this.
I'm not touching where the dynamic, if you grow up together as siblings and somehow find yourself dating, like especially if you were going through puberty with a sibling, just because you don't share blood, it's still, in my mind.
The argument I believe people made was like
well, we're not blood. We don't share blood.
But also like they got introduced at like 14 or 15.
I just feel as if your frontal cortex is, well, again, I guess by 18 your frontal cortex is not fully developed. So
no,
watching
as a guy,
this movie,
we got like 7 more years left.
Literally 7.
8, 9, 10?
10, a good 10. I had such conflicting emotions watching this movie because the movie was so good. Like the action was great and it was like a pretty quality romance. There's a lot of bad romance movies. You know what I mean?
And Lauren is willing to...
My bar is low. But this movie was genuinely good. Like the acting was good and it wasn't like no offense to influencers, but there are some influencers who have become actors that should stay in the influencer lane. So it was like proper actors, who are super talented, and
we
it was
love that for their agents.
Great story.
We support it.
But I was so conflicted because I was like, okay, so your step siblings, if they had just been a little bit older, like I know they made them 18 because that means obviously they're a legal adult, obviously, and they're strangers. And so I can see how that could happen. But at the same time, now your parents are married. And so now it creates an odd dynamic.
Yeah.
I think where the problematic situation lies is in the dynamic shifting from sibling to lovers, where these two just met and were immediately introduced and fell in love with each other. And so like, that's one thing, because that's the same thing as strangers just meeting.
Yeah.
Aside from the complicated.
So like if they lived in a house and they have bedrooms that are down the hall from one another for a couple of years.
That's what I'm saying is like, I think if the dynamic starts as a family and your siblings, especially if you're like younger or even in high school.
You should have to sneak out of your house to sneak into somebody else's house for it to be normal.
Yes.
Is that your point?
Well, I don't know, because they live in the same house.
Right. My point is you should have to leave your own home to sneak into the bedroom of
whoever you're, right. Yeah. You shouldn't be walking down the hall.
Here's my thought. I, as someone who has no siblings.
Same.
And whose mother did marry when they were in 6th grade, but that individual didn't have any kids, never faced this issue. I hope that if I was put in a position where I had to decide whether or not I had feelings for my stepsister, it would be an easy choice.
Yep.
And that's where I'm going to leave that.
But I was so conflicted because I know we've talked about this and I'm like, I can see how this could happen because they, again, went from strangers to just falling in love with each other. And they also were like just meeting their new step parents as well too. So like everyone was kind of strangers aside from the parents that are now together, right? So it's like, I see how this movie has come to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just feel as if we could have like 1 degree of separation to make the movie a little bit less weird of it being like your new stepbrother's best friend.
I mean, this must be a big enough thing to the point where movies are being made about it.
I mean, there's entire porn categories. So there's like step sibling porn categories, I feel like.
I want to be clear, just because there is a porn category of something
doesn't mean that it's okay.
Does not mean that it's okay or that it should be something that we should be okay with. But my point is, I just can't imagine how, like, it must suck to have to worry about whether or not you are going to be judged by everyone you know because you're having feelings for your recently made step sibling. That being said, I'd love to think that you could, I don't know, try any one of the other 4 million options before.
Besides the one in your home.
Walking down the hall. Although there's a convenience factor.
There is a convenience factor. So where I'm going to leave that is that the movie was incredible and they did not go from the dynamic of sibling to lovers, which I think is where my moral boundary sets off alarms.
For you.
For me personally, again, I know it's different. Obviously, when it comes down to the genetic incest portion of like actually sharing DNA with someone, there are incredibly high risks there. And so obviously, when you're not sharing blood, you could make an offspring and it would likely not have genetic issues.
6 arms.
Still, I just think that if you grow up in the same home as siblings and then it becomes, I don't know. I know people, honestly, we were a little taken aback, to be honest, after the comments of that
I've
last
never
episode.
felt like I've said something that is just
So controversial.
generally known as incorrect. Like
Yeah.
the DMs that I got that were well worded, all the grammar.
Totally.
I want to explain
Why this is-
what
yeah.
you said was short-sighted.
But I think when I watched this movie, I was like, okay, this is where those people are coming from.
And also, like, again, I have empathy for people who are struggling with their feelings for somebody
Right.
that like is okay, but is societally weird. I just don't want to find myself in that situation.
Yeah. Luckily, we
Our only
won't.
children.
Our only children.
So
And already married.
technically I have like 9 half siblings, but only children.
But yeah, only children. So anyway, outside of the possible moral complications that you may have with them being step siblings, the movie was really, really good.
Yeah. I feel like we had like rumors in my like hometown of like people that were related that were hooking up, but I feel like that was always just like absolute bullshit that people made up. It was
Yeah.
actually just complete lies.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
The idea of it being a real thing was always like, oh, I can kind of see it. Oh boy.
See,
Light incest.
oh, light incest.
Yeah.
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 Mhm,
I don't know if that's I know you have like lots of twins in Canada. Is this a thing you ever had to actually
No,
like,
I never.
process as a kid?
No.
Because I can't imagine like 2 seniors in high school who, you've known for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like just, hey, we're dating now.
Yeah. I feel like you always hear rumors about, well, no, actually, I think the only thing that I've ever heard a rumor about someone in my high school was like there was a brother-sister duo that were really close and also close in age. But now that I like look back at that, I'm like, that's actually so
They're
nice.
brothers and like natural born brother and sister.
But they were just close. Like I think
Right.
they just had like a nice relationship.
I'm sure they had a nice
And
relationship.
people teased the fuck out of them and were
Yeah.
like, this is weird. And now I'm like, that actually is so wholesome. And like, I wasn't the bully, but I'm just thinking back and I'm like, I think actually they got that duo got.
I have a feeling that they got a bunch of shit for things
Yeah.
that had nothing to do with their actual relationship.
We also watched
Kids are mean.
Kids are fucking mean.
Kids are mean.
We also watched a scary movie. I actually don't even know if it's considered a scary movie.
Well, you
It's
should-
a thriller.
It's
a thriller. It was scary for us.
It's got a couple jump scares. Lauren and I don't do scary.
we
don't
don't do scary.
And like when I tell you that I've had to basically say goodbye to relationships, friendships, they were like, you don't watch scary movies? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I enjoy like entertainment that doesn't make me feel like I'm gonna die for a half second every 30 minutes.
Literally. We watched the Gorge that had Anna Joy Taylor. Anna Joy Taylor?
Definitely Joy Taylor.
Joy Taylor. And Miles Teller. And it was so good. I feel like
Cute.
the trailer doesn't give you enough context. There's going to be some cute moments in that movie. And I'm here to tell you as your source that the movie was actually, there were so many cute. Whoa. Cute and tender moments.
Queet.
I,
I, for one, think that trailers should never be longer than 10 seconds.
Jeremy hates a trailer.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just like watch movie trailers.
Psychopath behavior.
Really?
What? Just ruin the movie? Because like they just basically show the whole movie.
Yeah, but like to commit to a whole movie, I would rather know if
But I think that if it's a great movie, it's a great story. If after a few seconds
Yeah.
of like previewing what I could potentially see, if none of that catches my eye, next.
Okay, but I think Poor Things had a bad trailer because we watched that and we're like, oh, this is a little fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then I
Also,
watched the movie.
But artsy things, I think sometimes like expect you to take their time.
That's
Like,
true.
You're going to this because it's art.
Yeah. But the actual like storyline was incredible. And there were so many scenes in that movie that I was like, oh, I wish if they had showed a little snapshot of like this, I would have been like, oh, we need to watch this. This is incredible.
I do think that like AI should for sure be coming up with like personal trailers for people based on what they're interested
Right.
in seeing.
You need 10 seconds of fucking 0.01 second jump cuts between every
Exactly.
single scene.
It's like it gets to know you, but then like somebody else watches your trailer and it's like, that's the kind of shit.
Oh, have you seen that app or that it's it might be a website where it's a game where they show you 1 second or like 4 seconds or
Yes.
something of a movie
Yes.
in the span of that tiny
Or
short time?
Literally like a half a second. Or like the ones that
Yes.
Yes.
And it's like a flash, but it's the whole movie. You know who's so good at that is Matt King.
Literally Matt King.
Matt King.
Like if I had to phone a friend,
Yeah.
Matt King.
Matt King.
And I know that if I phoned a friend and he didn't know it, he would live with that forever.
100%. He'd have to go watch it 10 times.
Like, do you ever like have film buff friends?
Yes.
I always wanted to be able to hang. Can't.
I have no interest. I have garbage taste and low standards for movies, and that's okay.
I think I have normal taste, which is not great. But like, I can't watch Casablanca 6 times and talk about it.
I think you're gonna love Poor Things though.
I'm in.
Again,
Also,
it's
Mark
also
Ruffalo?
Honestly, my favorite movie that Mark Ruffalo has ever done. He was hysterical.
I just love how little Mark Ruffalo gives a shit that like the overlords of Disney and like other mega studios, like he does not care whether they like him or not. If they don't hire him again, he doesn't care. I love it.
I love him. Willem Dafoe is also one of the leads.
Love that guy.
Stacked cast.
Yes.
Anyway, so that'll be on our watch for maybe this weekend after you get your tooth implant.
What character do you associate with Willem Dafoe?
Green Goblin.
Same. Okay, good. Good.
Who else would he be?
Can you imagine like having lived a life probably in 100 movies
Literally.
that have like made an impact?
You're like, oh,
And-
Green Goblin.
And like I would look at the guy and go, loved the Peter Parker.
How Antonio, what the fuck is his name? Who's Puss in Boots again?
Antonio.
Antonio Banderas. Like for me,
Puss in Boots.
he is only Puss in Boots.
And like I love that.
And Chris Rock is only the zebra from Madagascar.
All I can see is Will Smith at this point when I see Chris Rock.
Will Smith.
Slapping the shit out of him at the Oscars?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I forgot that
Yeah.
Chris Rock was on the receiving end of that slap.
I'll never forget, like Chris Rock just ate that thing.
Oh
Didn't
my God.
react beyond just like good for him.
You know what? The whatever PR that their team put in, I completely like if you had asked me who was on the receiving end of that, I would have been able to tell you.
Really?
I only remember Will Smith from that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think if I had thought back hard enough, I'd been like, oh yeah, Zebra from Madagascar was up there doing a speech and then got slapped. Like I think if I had gotten Madagascar
Zebra
in
from
my
Madagascar,
mind.
got it.
Yeah. But like I wouldn't have remembered it was Chris Rock.
Chris Rock has not aged in 30 years.
It's crazy. Good for him.
Good for him.
I want to get my microbladed eyebrows lasered off my face.
Okay.
I'm on Pico laser TikTok right now.
Pico laser TikTok.
It's a type of laser that is essentially, it actually might be the same as tattoo removal, where it essentially blasts the pigment out of it.
It's the most painful thing you've ever experienced, but go ahead.
And
Wait, isn't it the same thing like they use like hair removal?
maybe a lot of the hair removal places do it as well too. But I want to go to a certified dermatologist since this is on my face.
So when did you dye your eye? Like, so what? I know you showed me it. It's
No
disgusting.
dyeing.
So you like slice open your basically skin and just pour ink in
Some
there.
pigment in there, yeah.
So like cancer's a thing, but like how long was that supposed to last?
Oh, everyone's like, oh, it'll fade in a couple of years.
It's like when you get the worst tattoo in the worst place,
my
and
God.
it's the only one that sticks.
Yeah. So I got it done once, probably in 2017.
It was years before we were together.
Yeah. Before we were together. So maybe even earlier than that.
I remember you making a comment. I probably have to go again soon.
Yeah.
It still looks pretty good for now.
And
but
then
like,
I did. So I got it done in a place that was not great and didn't do a great job. They looked good, obviously, when they were fresh, but didn't do a great job. So then I found someone better who redid them, and they looked amazing when they were redone.
Nothing will be worse than what happened to me when I somehow agreed to get threaded in the middle of a mall.
Jeremy, these are completely different. I'll never forget when you mixed up microblading for threading.
Sorry, I'm not fluent in eyebrow manicuring.
I want to also give some context that Jeremy won't even let me pluck his eyebrows because he is so adverse to acute pain that I have to take one of those little mini like razors that you dermaplane with, and I shave just the tails of the hair off. He won't even let me get close to the root of the hair.
By the way, I'm glad we're on this topic. I'm irate at you, with you, whichever one.
Go ahead.
The amount, I had a garden growing out of my nose, all but up until yesterday. That didn't just get there. I know that when you look up at me, you're looking straight into this garden. At what point in time are we gonna go, hey, by the way, Sasquatch, do something about that?
To be honest, I didn't notice.
So again, mad. Like I literally, I looked in the mirror from 17 feet away and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like I could see it coming out of my nose, looking straight
swirling.
at my face. Huh. Yeah, that's your responsibility.
I hope you left a little bit though, because Chicago's gonna be cold. You'll need those nose hairs.
You know me. When I get in there, I take it down to the roots and we start over again.
Oh boy, that's gonna be it. It's gonna be a cold weekend for your poor inner nostril space.
No, but
cavities.
I gotta like clear it all out because God knows how long it'll be until I notice that you haven't told me. I think that it is the significant other who is shorter, their responsibility
to do no search checks.
Right.
Okay.
And my responsibility is to
I'll
let
tell
you
you
know.
there's a boogie in there.
And when you have grace, I'll let you know.
I got a fucking ad on TikTok yesterday for a new shampoo that helps dye the pigment of gray hairs.
Again,
and I was like, you know what? TikTok, fucking take it. Ban it. Ban it.
When
ban it.
I see a gray, I'll let you know.
Jeremy.
When I see a gray.
Would you like dinner next week?
Babe, when I see a gray. When I see one. Haven't seen one yet. When I see one.
Great answer. Stick with that. Stick with that and dinner will still show up.
Do you think, do we get our parents' hair, or like, do you think like, are you able to look at your aunt and your mom and like see, like, will you get like one of their hair, do you think?
I always thought for me, it was my dad's mom.
I think that's what we were told.
Yeah. Should we actually double check that?
I think that is only the male pattern baldness gene. So, but I'm going to look.
Let's see.
Speaking of male pattern baldness, it is so incredibly easy to get a prescription for Finasteride.
Think fuck. Hair genetics come from both parents. Each person inherits one copy of each gene from their mother and one from the father.
Okay.
Many genes determine hair traits, including color, texture, and thickness. Hair loss is also genetic and is known as androgenetic alopecia or male/female pattern baldness. Genetic factors contribute to hair loss and some are sex linked. Family history of hair loss increases the likelihood of experiencing, but it's not guaranteed. It can also skip generations and affect siblings differently. A DNA test can help you learn more about your hair, genes, and other traits.
Okay. I assume that if you click the link below that, they'll take you to one?
Well, this is the AI summary of the Google.
Oh, that will definitely take you to a link then.
Hair color can change over time. Gray hair is partly hereditary and may vary by ethnic origin. Hair loss caused by genetics occurs in a predictable pattern. Okay, what's the pattern?
Again, this sounds like it was a lawyer, not a doctor who wrote this.
I don't know, both X and Y chromosomes.
You don't have one of those.
Both parents come from.
It's kind of crazy you don't have a Y chromosome. Another episode, but anyway.
So crazy.
That's so crazy.
He's like, don't have one.
You have your, actually, well, your.
It feels like it was going to be a compliment and it went away so quickly.
Well, it wasn't for, it was for, it would have been for your dad, was not the compliment. But I would say the women in your family have incredibly thick hair forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, could use less.
Yeah. The men in my family, actually, I would say the only person who had less hair would have been my dad's mom, which is why that fact or like what was told to me years ago
scared the shit out of
stuck so hard because I was like, one, you had small boobs and you started balding a little bit. Sweet, slay, cannot wait for this outcome for me. But both my parents have really thick hair. My grandpa, my dad's dad, had a full head of hair until he passed.
Okay, got it.
My grandpa, yeah, it was wild.
Ironically, my hairstylist always tells me how Asian my hair is.
It does grow stick straight. It's crazy.
I didn't realize that until I was an adult.
I would have the nicest fucking hair if I had your head of hair.
You have great hair.
I have okay hair.
You have great hair.
I have okay hair.
Okay.
I would have such good hair if I had your hair. I would style the fuck out of your hair.
I feel like I don't even know how long I've ordered or been on, like, had a prescription for Finasteride.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if it's working. The whole idea was it was preventative anyway.
I feel like the people who have very little hair are probably like, this guy's being greedy. You have so much hair, it's crazy. That hairline has not moved a millimeter.
That's probably because you've been on the medication.
No, I've only been on for like 6 months though.
Oh, okay.
Is it Propecia?
What? Finasteride.
What the fuck's Propecia? You've said Propecia before.
No idea.
That's the non-generic.
Like, I'm buying the non-generic?
Yeah, Finasteride is.
Getting off that shit. When I tell you that, like, I am more, after like Diggy's a little adventure and everything else, I am more aware of my insurance policies than ever.
Oh yeah.
Like the privilege that one has, but also like kind of like it can be great or not when your corporate like HR office just sends your health insurance to you.
Mm-hmm.
I will never take that for granted ever again because now after 3 years of buying my own health insurance, I finally have got it right. And my God, There are so many ways you can fuck yourself.
As a Canadian, learning the American healthcare system of insurances and HMO and PPO and what the fuck those all stand for, and finding a doctor who's in your network, who's not, who you're allowed to go see, who you need a referral to is some bullshittery.
Honestly, not even in a podcast sponsor anymore. I still love ZocDoc for that reason.
Yeah, no, actually though.
I really do.
We have opened up the hotline.
Yeah.
And have had...
It's been months.
It's been months. Months. And I've missed you guys. I've missed hearing about your problems. I think it helps put our problems into perspective sometimes. And it's good to hear that we're all just going through it, you know?
We're all in this together.
This
Nope.
together.
It was implied. We've got to get some cast member from HSM on the show.
Oh, we could do that.
We could totally do that.
And honestly, I don't want it to be Zac Efron.
One of the cast members lives in our neighborhood. I'm going to be so honest.
Lauren.
I'm not going to say who it is, but one of the cast members lives in our neighborhood, and I see this cast member all the time.
I might have said that thinking of this cast member.
And I think about it all the time, and I lose my mind every time I see them.
Comment below which cast members you'd like to see.
No. But it is one of those things where, like, living in LA is just one of the things where I'm like, wow, this is a fucking crazy thing.
It's like I spent weeks of my life I played that show so many fucking times as like a kid. So many times.
I played that movie so many times as a kid.
Like, I feel like I could probably, if I needed to, like sit down at a drum set and still be able to play that show.
I'm sure you could.
Any Broadway production. And I got to be honest, wouldn't change a thing.
Equal amount of talent. I could probably do some of the choreography from We're All in This Together.
Hotline time. Okay, show, take it away. All right, caller number 1.
Hi, I have a problem where my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend is kind of obsessed with him, and he hates her. It's not a him problem at all, but it's gotten to like an obsessive point on Instagram and like social media and stuff, and I don't know what to do, so I was wondering if you guys had any advice.
Okay.
That's so fucking annoying.
Have you dealt with this?
I haven't dealt with something like this specifically, but I feel like I have dealt with someone who's been obsessive in the sense that they just keep making new accounts. Because like, obviously the first thought is obviously you can block, you can hide them from being able to see your content. But if there's someone that is going to start creating like new email addresses to then make new accounts, like depending on the length that they're willing to go to be fucking creepy, it gets harder and harder. I'm so glad that the boyfriend obviously is not on board with this behavior.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a world where you could have your boyfriend reach out and address how inappropriate this is and make a very clear and concise message about wanting them to stop. Because I think if this escalates, you need that first step of outreach to make the behavior stop.
I have a different take.
Go ahead.
I think that like this is fundamentally when dealing with like cyber stalking.
Yeah.
First off, cyber stalking is legal in 50 states.
Illegal?
Illegal. So
illegal.
Like wherever you live if you live in the United States, it is illegal to stalk someone on the internet. Period. Just so know that, not that you want to like escalate things to legal, but like you cannot make someone feel uncomfortable using digital means in any state legally.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter your age, it is illegal. So 1. I think it's best whenever you are in the receiving end on this to never outreach in any capacity. In fact, I think it's simply when you receive the message that you don't want to receive anymore, you label it as what it is. I do not think it's appropriate for you to send this message. I have no interest, nor am I willing to accept, like basically make it, let me say this, make this clear. I think it's important to label this for what it is. Like, I think this individual needs to hear, this is inappropriate. This is abuse. I have no interest in opening a conversation with you. If I have that interest, I will be the one to reach out. But moving forward, I expect you to stop this immediately and know that I'm going to have to escalate this if you continue to do this.
Wait, but you said no reach at the beginning. We're saying that we are messaging to be clear and concise.
You would respond once to something that they sent.
Yes. I don't think it's like
a
Sorry, that was
sent,
confusing.
Sorry. To be clear, when they send something that you deem inappropriate, that you have no interest in entertaining, nor do you want them to, like, you don't want to open the conversation. You want the conversation to be closed, and you want it to be closed in a final sense. I think you label it as what it is. Like, that was inappropriate. That is not, that's not acceptable. I am asking you never to reach out to me again. Mm-hmm. If you reach out to me again in any capacity, in any medium, for any reason, know that it is against my wishes and that it is inappropriate and that I will have to escalate it if you continue to do this. And then you don't write back again.
Yes, 100%. You don't acknowledge any other, like, don't get into a fight, don't get into a back and forth. I think most sane people, and I'm a little concerned that she's maybe not sane if she has continued to harass them on social media. But like any sane person would hear that and be like, oh, this is not okay and I don't feel good about this. You
want them to be able to hear from you that, this person is being an adult about this.
Ooh, new idea. We go on ChatGPT and ask them to write you a cease and desist and scare them with
No, you don't scare them.
We can pull a letterhead from some kind of fun law firm, and then we'll make a fun law firm and make a fake cease and desist and scare the living shit out of her to be like, hey bitch, I know where you live. You can even address it with her proper address.
Okay. Anyway, so 2 things. 1.
Love option 2.
There's a silver lining here. The tone in her voice made it very clear to me. Mm-hmm. Her and her boyfriend are on the same page.
Yep, 100%.
So this is an opportunity for you guys to continue being on the same page in an opportunity, and in a situation that sucks, which is always for your relationship can be a net positive in the long term. That's good. And 2, the other thing that this individual needs to do is not pretend this digital harassment can't hurt him.
Totally.
It can.
Yeah.
It can get worse, and make sure that you have to keep receipts. If you're in the position where you're being abused digitally, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to physically hurt you, but it's escalating and you can't get it to stop. Get receipts.
Yeah.
Maintain receipts. Hopefully you never have to use them.
And then option 3, we make an expose TikTok and blow it up in your hometown
No, we do
to
not
expose her.
Also, when you
Big
block,
fans of option 2 and 3.
most social accounts now, when you block someone, you can have the option to block other accounts that
they make.
Yeah.
I know. But also, I've never known if that comes down to the email that they're using to create.
No, IP address.
Oh, it's IP.
Wait.
It's a unique ID for.
I have some interesting information.
Awesome.
Because I kind of experienced this. I don't know to the degree that the caller is going through, maybe not as bad, but I'll share what worked for me. First of all, the Instagram block, you can now not only block accounts that they have created, but any account that they are logged into on a device that their primary account is also logged in with.
Wow.
So for example, if someone blocked me, it would also block Wild Til 9.
Yep.
Right, because you're logged into the Wild Til 9 account. Yeah,
and so that's really, really super useful. And then 2, what actually worked for me, and it kind of is annoying because it puts the responsibility on you, is I just went on private for 6 months so that I on my Instagram so that I was completely unreachable from a new account, block them, go on private so that they even have access.
Right. So then any even new account can't.
And then any new account can't slip through the cracks. And obviously maybe they can go really in depth and create a fake person that I accepted. And it sucks that to put yourself in the position where you have to maybe let's say you want a public account for your career for whatever reason.
You shouldn't have to do that.
But I'm just sharing that
it
did
works.
Work.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months, I put them back on public and they were over it.
Yeah.
And they stopped trying to contact me. So
obviously if you're in danger, physically, this is a different story.
Option 4, we get this bitch a new hobby so that she doesn't have so much free time to harass them.
maybe we find her a boyfriend.
But by the way, when you label this behavior as inappropriate, it's not out of the question to say, if you do this again, I will have to report this. Mm-hmm. And then I don't want bad things to happen to you, but I can't have this in my life.
Will.
But it's hey, I need to protect my boundary. I'm not trying to hurt you, but your behavior is going to hurt you.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, good luck. You got this.
Hi, Lauren and husband Jeremy.
Hi.
I just have a bit of a question. I am planning on moving to Canada next year. I live in Australia and I've lived here my entire life, and I am just looking for change. I had a bit of a crisis this year, which amounted in me deciding all of my friends hated me and that I had nothing going for me here, and that I needed to finally do the thing that I've been thinking about doing for 7 years and moving to Canada, and my wonderful boyfriend is coming with me. But I'm such a friends person. Friends and family are such an integral part of my life. So the biggest reservation I've always had about doing this is being away from my support system. And I guess I probably just wanted to know, I mean, obviously, Lauren, you moved from Canada to the US, which is a little less further afield. But I want to know if you have any advice on how to navigate the first, I don't know, probably few months of not having any of your support system around you, and any tips and tricks you might have when it comes to relocating your entire life and how to make the most of that experience. Because I don't think it'll be forever. I mean, we get 2-year visas to move to Canada, so I can theoretically live there for 2 years. And I don't want to take it for granted, but I also want to prioritize what I know to be my needs and how to make all of that happen at once, because it's a bit scary. So any advice that you guys might have in doing that would be greatly appreciated.
Oh my God. Well, one, that's so exciting.
I love an Australian accent.
God, same. Literally, I zoned out for a second and I was like, you know what though? The first thing was like, so many people in Canada will ask about her accent. It's such an easy conversation starter.
All she has to do is speak conversation.
One word. Yeah, exactly. And someone's going to be like, oh, are you Australian? Like, what are you doing visiting Canada? I wish I knew where in Canada she was moving, if it's going to be like a small suburban situation or if it's Toronto, Vancouver, like big city vibes. Because I feel like that obviously does make a huge difference in terms of what communities are available to you. I'm so glad the boyfriend's going with her, because at least you have, you know, one person to help.
You have someone who is equally in a position where the surroundings that they're used to are new.
Yeah, 100%. Because I am very similar. Like, family and friends to me are such a monumental part of the foundation of my sanity and support.
Yep.
And I think staying in contact with family over FaceTime and text, and just like having visits pre-planned and scheduled, and kind of knowing how often you're going to see them is very, very helpful.
Yeah.
My mom and I FaceTime multiple times a week, and I feel like we see each other again almost more now. And I have the luxury of my parents being retired, so they're able to, you know, come visit for a week and just hang out, and it's been great. But I think pre-planning how often you're going to see your family, so you have kind of that cadence already in your mind, knowing of like, okay, well, it's only a couple more months till I see them, or it's like, you know, in 6 months I'm going to see them. I think that's like a nice comfort piece. And then I think from the friend perspective, again, it depends on like what city you're in and the population I think that you're working with, like population size. But I think going with your boyfriend, one, it's so much easier to talk to someone when you have a second person, whether that be a friend or a significant other. So much easier to talk to someone when you have someone else, because you can even target a solo person when there's two of you to bring them into your circle. But I think, like, for example, depending on what your hobbies are, like joining, personally, I fucking hate running, so I would never join a run club. But if I were to move to a new city, I would find like, something that does—
a runner's club that doesn't run.
Group walks, group hikes, or something like that. Like group fitness or group exercise.
This reminds me of when I purposefully moved to a state that I knew no one.
Oh, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, geography lesson, it was an 8-hour drive from Rockford, Illinois to Lexington, Kentucky. And part of the reason I chose that was the idea of being able to step into the version of myself that nobody else had a preconceived notion of was priceless.
Yeah. I do think that we had the luxury of going to a new college or a new city, both of us, and a lot of people being in the exact same boat. I think it is very difficult when you are already in your career and you're the newcomer, and people already have their routine in their lives in a city that they're established in.
I think, to your point, as opposed to everyone being in a new environment and like it all being new, it's new for you all. But fortunately, Canada is filled with very nice people.
Such nice people.
And
the nicest people.
In the same way that they're all busy and like it's not new for them, like I think that some people will find, if you can find your community, your interests, find your like discovery of Canada in real time, and like your excitement to just be there and do things and like be in Canada and like be next to Canadians all day, and like maybe do spend the full 2 years there, and maybe you spend more time. Like the idea of like being excited about being where people are, doing whatever it is that they enjoy doing. It doesn't matter. Like whatever your interests are, like just don't take it too seriously in the sense of like you need to be more than who you want to be when you're trying to like meet new friends.
I think saying yes to social outings that are outside of your comfort zone, whether it be solo or with your partner, because I think about like I made some of my closest friends through friends of friends. So even if it was like, if I got invited to an outing where I was like, I don't know if I necessarily vibe with these people, but ended up meeting one person in that new friend group as well too. Because I think like between school and work, you're given a community of people. And obviously you're not going to get along. Everyone's not going to be your cup of tea. But hopefully in your new job, in your new city, there will be a few people who you vibe and connect with. And I think there's no shame in like leaning into possibly their social friend group. And you might branch out and meet more people through friends of friends of friends of friends.
The like making friends with people who you're kind of friends with their friends already is so much easier.
So much easier.
Hi, my name is like, I feel like the world is bad at introducing themselves to new people for no reason anymore. Like we're just so used to like, I've got this distraction. Yeah.
Or you awkwardly kind of already know someone and then don't introduce yourself because you both kind of follow each other on Instagram and are like kind of mutuals, but like haven't officially met.
That might be a niche thing. But yes, but long story short, like the only other thing I think of is like, because you're going with someone who like is going to be your person, like is already your safety person. Now you're gonna be a safety person while you guys are both on the other half of the world. Because unlike Lauren and I, all of your friends will be asleep when you're awake.
Oh yeah, true.
The time zone difference between Australia and basically any time zone where you're in Canada, not convenient.
Yeah.
Not that that's like, you won't be able to speak to them. Just know that like, it will always have to be something that is intentional. Lastly, this is the opportunity for you to be very intentional and like with your partner say, this is the type of person I've always wanted to be. I want to be. And we need to keep ourselves accountable to the point where like, if we're not putting ourselves in environments where we can be this person, where we can grow into this couple, like we need to call each other out on that and like say that. Like make that a known point because like you guys are have the opportunity to become very close. Yeah.
I think also too, don't be afraid to be open and communicative and honest and conversational with people that you come across, whether it be like in a coffee shop or at a Pilates class afterwards. I think that the one thing about Canada is that the majority of people are very, very nice. I think that they are very welcoming. Whereas like if I were in New York, I would never tell you to go say hi to someone on the street or at a coffee shop or in a Pilates class. But I think hopefully, again, depending on Canada, it is a very large country, geographically wise. It's a very large country in terms of, being wide as fuck. Totally. But like, so I don't know where you're going to be, but hopefully the people that you come across are going to be welcoming and a wonderful representation of the country. And anybody that you tell like, hey, I'm from Australia. I've been here 2 weeks. I'm just really excited to, meet people, but I don't really know what I'm doing. If their reaction to you isn't anything but that's amazing. Wow. Tell me more about that. Yeah, exactly. Or like, move on. Here's my favorite coffee shop in the area. Right. Here's my favorite gym in the area. People like being helpful. People like being helpful. People like being, so it's like, I think the majority of people, whether you see them again or not, and maybe it becomes a deeper friendship, or maybe it just becomes a good recommendation for a good restaurant. Yeah, because like the worst thing this is you know what? I tried it. I'm back in Australia. Yeah, right. That's. Or I'm trying a new restaurant with my boyfriend. Exactly. Caller number 3.
Hi, Lauren and Jeremy. My name is Haley, and I recently got married this past October 20th. Congrats. I wanted to reach out because I'm experiencing something I think many might relate to, and that's not talked about a lot, the post-wedding blues. Since you two were married earlier this year, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. My husband and I have been together for 10 years. We waited to get married until after I graduated nursing school in June of 24. I started the planning process while I was in school, and once I graduated, I at least had like the wedding and all the planning to look forward to. Our wedding day was perfect, and we even enjoyed a mini moon from Chicago to California, which was a lovely distraction. However, now that we're back in the city and back to everyday life, I'm kind of finding it tough to transition. I'm looking for any advice on how to cope with these feelings and embrace this new chapter in our lives. Thanks much, guys.
I have the immediate fix to this.
That's so sweet.
We get a dog.
Lauren.
We get a dog.
Might not be a bad idea, but what if she's allergic?
We get a hypoallergenic dog.
What if they live in a studio apartment and they both work 9 to 9?
Still, we get a dog.
They work 9 to 9.
Someone comes home on lunch. No, okay. So in all reality, the post-wedding blues, I feel like is so incredibly real. I think that we actually accidentally did ourselves the hugest favor by having our honeymoon almost 5 months after the wedding. April, May, June, July, August, September, 5 months after the wedding. That is correct. Because we still had something to look forward to. And I know a lot of people who, do the wedding, go immediately on their honeymoon. They come down from like this incredible high of not only like marrying the love of their life and having all of their friends and family celebrate them and then going on this amazing like trip that's so full of love. And then you come back and you're like, oh my fucking God.
Here's the rest of life.
Yeah, here's just me and my husband. Not that they're not good enough for everyday life, but like it's so common to experience coming down from such a high to feel a low.
I've read that actually after we talked about this a little bit on an episode forever ago, I read that it's 1 in 10 brides have some form of like
post-wedding depression.
Yeah, and I wish I had the stat there, but it was like 10%, and they said like the number is actually much higher.
Yeah,
but like to your point, no one talks about it because no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah. So I think what this boils down to is that you had something that you were working towards.
Like you had many things you were working towards: a 10-year relationship, nursing school, a wedding, honeymoon. All of these things are an accomplishment that you put a lot of time and effort into on the way up.
Right.
Like, a lot of things.
And now they're done. And so
you did them.
I think finding something you can work towards, whether it be on a solo pursuit or with your husband, and it doesn't have to be like looking forward and saving for a vacation, like something that requires a lot of money. But like even if you want to grow a new garden and you throw yourself into, learning and exploring a new hobby, or maybe, again, getting a dog and having something to look after. That also could be a possible fix for this situation.
I have 4 dogs.
Yeah, exactly. How about a 5th dog?
Maybe a gerbil.
Gerbils, I think, are a lot of work. Anyways, I think replacing. I think it's the the working towards something that you're missing. It's not necessarily. Obviously, there is like the going back to normalcy after being in such a high. But I think what you're missing is the routine of working towards something. So if you can find something to, and it's not to replace that sentiment, but it's just something new to work towards, and whether that be learning something new or trying something new hobby. New fitness routine, again, fostering or adopting a dog, maybe. Like I think it's that process of checking things off of a list, learning something new, securing something, confirming something. A lot of the times I feel like it boils down to that.
I mean, like, I'm gonna echo what I already said. You sound like someone who has a plan and they stick to it, and admirable. Haven't been able to do them ever in my life. Congrats. But like, I think especially, I can't imagine from the female's perspective, so much of the pressure of like whether or not the wedding is good enough for family, for friends, or this, that, whether it ever is on a scale or it's even something you think about. Like there's so much pressure that like doesn't hit us that once the wedding is over, to your point, it's like all of the things that were taking up my time, gone. And 2, it's like from a fundamental logistics, just reality perspective, now everyone's going to just ask you, when are you having kids? When are you doing this?
Fucking God, yeah.
So it like becomes like the things that you were really excited about doing with your closest friends and family. And then it's like the expectations from all those people, or people that are even like non-biased third party that have no business asking anyway. And like, I don't know how you would deal with all that, because I wouldn't want people to have like expectations for what my next move in life would be. And I assume that many people feel the same way. Most importantly, however, you aren't like crazy. You're not like unique to the point where like no one else is struggling with this.
Yeah.
I think it is a lot more common. And the most important thing is like you making sure that your partner and you know that like the whatever you're feeling that's like sad and like, doesn't make you feel like you used to feel when you were excited for these things. It's not because the relationship's broken.
Right.
It's not because there's anything wrong there. I genuinely feel like sometimes you just like, oh, married life is very similar, but it is different. And like getting in that groove. Like it's hard to describe how I've felt in the last 10 months since we've been married. But like there's definitely ebbs and flows. But like now I feel like getting in the momentum of like what I think being a good husband looks like, and like not being there and always wanting to get closer to it is that like goal again. But it wasn't clear to me for many months, like to your point, maybe even after the honeymoon. Like, okay, got it. Wedding things are over.
Yeah.
Now it's time. What do I care about? What am I going to prioritize? What am I going to fill my time with? And how will the version of myself that I want to be for me and for my wife, like fit into that.
May I suggest a smut novel? May I suggest a smut novel and a dog?
To your point, I don't think it's going to be something like, you're going to like, okay, I'm not going to think about that anymore. I'm going to think about this. You're going to wake up one day and go, wow, I haven't thought about feeling sad about this.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how long.
Also, don't let anyone in this period after the wedding make you feel like you need to now have children just because you've checked a wedding off a list. I don't know if you're planning on having kids or maybe that's not even something you want, but don't let people in this period be like, okay, now this is what you do because you're on your own timeline. And just because you're coming down from this very like normal thing, this very normal high, don't make people feel like you need to now replace that high with children.
I also think like there's no playbook for how to feel.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Everyone's wedding looks different. Everyone's relationship looks different.
Well, everyone talks about the
lives.
wedding. Everyone talks about the honeymoon. Everyone talks about the thing that we all see. No one talks about like Tuesdays after work. You don't have plans. You don't have plans tomorrow. You don't have plans the next day. But your husband's there. You're there. And all you have is like to kind of look forward to on the schedule is work. It's like, okay, you are in charge. You must find ways to become the person that like doesn't have to worry about whether or not you're concerned with this pressure that you don't feel anymore. Like that part's on you. Everything else will take care of itself.
Agreed.
Everything else will take care of itself.
Agreed. And I think just starting small and putting small things on the calendar to look forward to, I think is a great first step.
Also, I can only imagine how much any husband would want to hear. Like, hey, I'm feeling sad about, I can't put my finger on it, but I love you. Like, and it has nothing to do with you.
Reiterating that part.
Like, there's nothing that makes me, I can always find more energy, more capability, more ability to get something done if I feel like I can do something for Lauren that she needs help with.
Right.
So like, task him with that. I think he'll be thrilled to be able to be there for you.
To help. And then we can go to the dog rescue and bring home a sweet pup.
And then get a dog.
The way that I was like, don't put a Band-Aid over this with children, but I'm like, let's get a dog.
To be fair, I don't know what people with no pups
talk about.
Do. It's like a perpetual little ball of entertainment.
Genuinely.
Just farting along.
It's like, it's just our favorite show is on at all times of the day.
Covering our home with
toot and poop.
Well, it's been great this week.
You guys said that you missed the blab episodes, and I hope that we delivered.
So you better comment below all the things that you want us to talk about and blab about next, because we'll figure it out. But also, I do enjoy the contrast.
Oh my God, 100%. No, I mean, like, I think that it's important to have both, and I might die and explode if I don't blab at least once a month.
But also, some of the guests that we either already have lined up or are trying to get, I would love to, like, whether I'm having this conversation or not, like, I want to hear what they have to say.
Totally.
And please, if there's somebody who, like, you guys have to talk to this person, we might not agree, but I would love to consider it. Like, I really do want to see more options. And, like, we have committed to not prioritizing someone who everyone's heard of before. Like, if you know of somebody who's out there, has something interesting to say, and has 6 followers, great. It doesn't matter. Like, please recommend people who you think have a important message or entertaining or whatever else. We want to hear it.
Absolutely. And next episode, Jeremy will be +1 tooth. So get excited for that, because I'm sure that
+1 titanium rod. Or
it's going to have a tooth attached to it.
No.
Huh?
I'm just getting the rod.
What?
Oral surgery is just the titanium rod they drill into my, like, molars.
Shut the fuck up right now. Hang on, you're not getting it. I've told everyone that you're getting a new tooth this weekend.
Can you imagine what it was like, this front one? So everyone, this front teeth is fake. I never was born with one. It didn't come in my baby or my adult tooth.
I'm concerned for our children, to
be
honest.
So I had to drill a titanium rod, and that titanium rod was just visible for 6 months.
Okay, hang on. So this weekend, we are going for this surgery.
Shoshana, can you pull up a oral surgery or a
who
tooth
puts
implant?
The tooth on?
My dentist. You can get it. Your dentist can do that. Like, that's the crown. This is the implant.
Can we just, like, screw it off? Is it like a party trick where you can take it off and, like,
that's going into me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, should we do experiments to see how much we can hang? Oh, I guess you'd have to go upside down for us to hang anything off of it because it's on the bottom.
Latvia, it has been far too long. We don't want to do this again. We want to keep talking to you. Thank you for being amazing listeners. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.